Once upon a time, Debbie Wood and Bernard Brown gamble on their red-hot passion and elope to Vegas.
It just became this whirlwind romance.
I was excited for her to be happy.
I could see Debbie spark for Bernard, and I could see Bernard's affection for Debbie.
It just feels right.
But 6 months later, their marriage goes bust.
Where do you think you're going?
It was a violent scene. I had not seen anything like that before.
The quiet community of Camarillo was completely shocked that something like this could happen.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. On a secret adventure, Debbie Wood and Bernard Brown race into a Las Vegas wedding chapel, eager to become husband and wife.
They were so in love, and they just really complimented each other.
Even though the handsome single dad is 20 years her senior,
Hello there, how are you all there?
Debbie loves that Bernard is stable, successful, and charming.
I could see why Debbie would fall in love with somebody like that.
This guy is wise, he's powerful. This is like hitting the holy grail for plenty of young women. They're in Vegas and he's her jackpot.
And Bernard is drawn to 26-year-old Debbie's magnetic spirit.
She was just very youthful, and when people were around her, they felt youthful. She just had one of those attractive personalities.
Do you take Debbie Wood to be your lawfully wedded wife?
They haven't been dating very long, but the bride and groom just know this is right.
I do.
And Debbie Wood, do you take Bernard Brown to be your
When you think you have it all and you've found the perfect partner, why wait?
till death do you part?
I do.
You may now kiss the bride.
So with 2 hearts and 1 diamond, the couple say I do in Sin City. But months later, in their hometown of Camarillo, California, their passionate house of cards seems to have collapsed. On June 10th, Debbie doesn't show up to her new dream job, counseling troubled young women. She's only worked there a few weeks, but Debbie is a passionate and dedicated employee.
She had shown that she was quite reliable to them. And when she didn't arrive, they became concerned about her whereabouts and well-being.
Hey girls, what's going on? Our session was supposed to start 20 minutes ago and Mrs. Wood isn't here. I'll go give her a call.
Messages and texts to her phone go unanswered.
Hey Debbie, it's Amy. You were supposed to have a session about 20 minutes ago and you're not here.
It's unusual to her new co-workers,
Call back and let me know you're all right, okay?
but Debbie's life has always been a bit unpredictable. Born to a single mom who can't raise her, she's adopted into a loving family, just in time for her first Christmas.
And we got her for a Christmas present that year. She was part of our family immediately.
Homeschooled with her 5 siblings by her new mother, the spunky little girl lets her big heart shine.
She had a love in her. She had a spark in her life. She loved life. She would laugh and giggle and just be fun to be with.
But as a teen, the giggles turn into tears when her adoptive mom walks out on the family, a second mother rejecting her.
Not feeling loved by mom and the separation that takes place and the anger that's down in your heart. You're trying to heal that and repair that.
This can be really debilitating and very injurious, especially in the vulnerable teenage years when young girls are trying to figure out really who they are in the world.
Debbie hopes an escape into the spotlight will help her forget the heartache and begins modeling as a teenager. She also opens her heart to finding love, and at 19, she falls for college senior Anthony Ortega.
She turned a lot of heads. I mean, she was just a beautiful girl. And her smile kind of got my attention. It was an instant attraction between Debbie and I. Unfortunately,
the relationship fails. Another hard knock for Debbie. But just after the breakup, she's elated when she discovers she's pregnant. She and Anthony vow to always make their new bundle of joy a top priority.
And she was excited, to start this new season of her life.
The moment I saw Clarissa, I just knew that, my world was gonna change.
It's a tough sacrifice for Debbie. But Anthony takes primary custody of Clarissa while she goes to college to earn a psychology degree.
Mommy loves you.
Anthony and Debbie were working as a team to try and make this arrangement with Clarissa work in their life because they both loved Clarissa.
During their weekend visits, Debbie cherishes the precious bonding time with her daughter.
All right, go like this. Perfect. Let's go ahead and put some jewelry on you because every princess needs jewelry.
My mom liked to put a lot of makeup on me and dress me up in her high heels and dress me up in her clothes. We would go to amusement parks together.
Gotta put on your magical ring because all princesses need a magical ring, okay?
Debbie was a Disneyland mom.
Would you like to get some tea?
When Clarissa and Debbie were together, they would go do all the fun stuff.
At this point, Debbie's living with her best friend, Lucy Owens. Their friendship is a source of comfort for the struggling single mom.
May I join in on the party? Why, of course, Princess Lucy.
All of us really treasured her as Debbie's friend. And so we'd include her to Christmas things and gatherings together. And so Lucy became part of our family.
Coming up with college tuition is tough, and Debbie decides the best way to earn fast cash is dancing in an upscale gentleman's club just outside of Camarillo. She's been a teen model. Now she channels her good looks and sparkling charisma into a way to build a better future for herself.
Debbie's personality would brighten up a room without her even saying any words. She was very loving and bubbling and liked to laugh and make people happy.
She makes fast friends among both the customers and the other employees at the club. But when it comes to love, she feels stuck in a cycle of rejection. She still harbors a secret hope that she'll find the perfect man to fill the void in her heart.
She was dating. She was looking for the Mr. Right, and it just wasn't coming along.
Across town, sales manager Bernard Brown shares the same dating woes.
Will someone else be joining you today?
No.
Bernard was a single father of 2 children, and he had been dating for a while, but he hadn't found a companion that he really found something in common with.
His recent divorce has left him heartbroken.
Bad breakups are really hard on people's self-esteem, and Bernard was no different. Going through a rocky breakup can make you feel unlovable, make you feel almost unworthy, make you wonder if you'll ever find love again.
The frustrated bachelor turns to the guys for support. And in October 2004, they take him to the club where Debbie works to try to get him to cheer up. Then he sees her. It's an awkward place to meet, but unexpectedly, sparks fly.
Bernard, she was looking right at you.
Go talk to her.
Say hello. All right.
When they finally got to talking, there was just instant chemistry between them.
Hi. I'm Bernard.
Oh, Debbie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
And I'm sure you hear this all the time, but I just wanted to tell you that you were beautiful.
A woman never gets tired of being told she's beautiful.
And you must never be tired because you were absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you so much. You're so sweet.
He's 20 years older, but she doesn't mind. They both feel a powerful connection.
She was just doing her job, And here, the love of her life just walked right in the door.
Can I buy you something to drink?
You're so nice.
Cosmopolitan.
Now that deep connection appears to have been severed.
Hey, Debbie. Thought you were gonna call this morning.
Debbie is nowhere to be found.
Concern grew about Debbie's well-being. Lucy had been trying to get in touch with her and couldn't.
Hi, I'm looking for Debbie Wood.
Lucy calls Debbie's office. They say she never showed up for work. Where could she be? This isn't like Debbie at all. And her best friend somehow senses something horrible has happened. 6 months after marrying Bernard Brown, newlywed Debbie Wood seems to have just vanished. It's been 24 hours, and her best friend Lucy Owens still can't get a hold of her.
Okay, well, please let me know as soon as you hear back from her.
Finally, Lucy tracks down Debbie's husband Bernard and tells him the news. The couple has been having problems over the past few weeks, so Debbie's been staying with friends.
Hi, Bernard.
But recently, the estranged newlyweds recommitted to working things out, starting with a romantic getaway.
Well, it's just that she's not answering any of my phone calls.
You know how she is. We're supposed to go to Florida, but she hasn't answered mine either.
Bernard had made plans to go to the Florida Keys with Debbie, and they were supposed to meet on Friday for a flight, and she never showed up.
She'll turn up. I wouldn't worry about it.
All right, well.
But Bernard sort of wrote that off because Debbie's a free spirit and sometimes would make plans and then change them just on a whim.
Is his nonchalant attitude hiding a deep sting that she's blown him off? Or masking even darker feelings? Word quickly spreads to friends and family that their dear Debbie is missing.
There are a number of phone calls between each of the family members. Has anybody heard from Debbie? No. What of friends? Lucy, have you heard from her? No. What's going on here then? Where is she?
Lucy also reaches out to Joe Dwyer. He's one of the regulars Debbie befriended at the club.
He expressed that he was concerned about Debbie. He didn't know where she was and didn't know what she was up to.
Joe goes to the club and asks around about Debbie.
I haven't seen her in a few weeks. Maybe one of the girls have. Hey, Heather.
But no one has seen her since she stopped working there a month before and started her new counseling job.
Oh, no, I haven't seen her since she stopped working at the club.
Now her former co-workers are worried too. They all love vivacious Debbie. Months earlier, Bernard is starting to love her too. And after a bumpy youth riddled with rejection, she's just as smitten with this solid guy.
Nice to meet you.
Bernard had everything she was looking for. He was a parental figure because he was a dad. He had a steady job. He was secure. And he, of course, is getting the butterfly that is flitting out of everybody else's hands, but he's the one who can actually capture her.
Despite meeting under unusual circumstances, the love-struck pair quickly falls into a more conventional dating relationship.
The more time they spent together, they just became more and more enamored with each other, despite their 20-year age difference. It just became this whirlwind romance.
This is Allison. Seth.
She meets his teenage kids
Debbie.
and introduces him to her 6-year-old daughter, Clarissa.
Hello, Clarissa. How are you?
Your mother has told
Debbie
so
is
much
floating
about
on
you.
cloud 9.
She told friends that he was whining and dining her, and she was loving every minute of it.
I brought you this little gift.
This is turning into the relationship of her dreams.
Oh, what'd you get?
Has she finally found someone who will never leave her?
You like?
It's so sparkly.
Sparkly as this?
For his part, Bernard can't wait for them to be together forever. So when he pops that magical question,
Debbie Wood.
she doesn't hesitate a second.
Will you marry me?
Yes.
You may now kiss the bride.
They got married faster than you can say I do.
But back home, their spontaneous nuptials get a mixed reaction.
I was happy for her. I remember her telling me that she's gonna get married again so I could be in the wedding.
I want to go to your wedding too, Mommy.
We're gonna have another one, sweetie. It's gonna be a lot bigger and you can be our flower girl.
Hey, how was Vegas?
Got married.
I was more surprised than anything else. I was thinking, well, why didn't you talk to the family about this? Why didn't you include the family? I said, you really didn't know Bernard before you married him. I'm concerned about that.
They shrug off the concerns. They're happy and madly in love. So why not? However, their fast-track love story soon hits a reality speed bump.
Only weeks after they got married, the reality set in. Their hot attraction melded into, uh-oh, what have I done here?
Had they rushed the marriage? They don't see a lot of each other. She wants to keep her dancing job bringing in her own paycheck until she graduates in a few months. On her rare nights off from the club, she's studying. And after work, he likes to go out to unwind.
So, I'm heading out to the party. Are you sure you don't want to go?
I wish I could, but I have to get this work done.
You're gonna miss out.
I know.
There'll be other times.
Still, Debbie stays focused on her goals.
Have fun.
Study hard.
I will.
Getting her degree so she can find her dream job as a counselor, and always making time for her precious daughter.
Hi there, sweetie.
Some of the most fun I've had would be with the weekends that I've had with her.
Are you excited about this upcoming weekend?
But juggling work, school, motherhood, and now marriage turns out to be a major challenge for the newlyweds.
I love you, Mommy.
I love you too, Clarissa. You ready to open presents?
Even their first Christmas together is strained. Debbie invites some of her cobbled collection of friends, Lucy and Joe, to join in the fun. Bernard and Debbie's dad know Lucy, but they're curious about Joe, who seems to lavish Debbie with a lot of gifts for a friend. And not just Christmas presents.
He gave her close to $16,000 to help her pursue her degree and really wanted to be a part of sort of what he thought were positive changes in her life.
Bernard. Wow.
Not me, Dad. Sweetheart, those are for me. I just figured a beautiful woman should have diamonds. You're beautiful, Debbie.
Bernard can't stand it. It's their first holiday as a couple. Why on earth would Debbie invite another man to the family party?
There was hate, literally hate, from Bernard to Joe in that party. It was very volatile. It was just uneasy.
That Christmas brings the very best for you.
There is so much to love about Bernard. But sometimes Debbie wishes life with her new hubby was just easier and less tense.
If you'll excuse me, this is getting a little thick in here.
She pushes the negative vibes aside and focuses on the positive. A fresh start in the new year is just what she needs. She can't wait to finish her college degree and find a professional day job as a counselor.
I was very pleased and happy because I wanted her to spend more time, with Clarissa.
With a bright future ahead, Debbie is hoping the tension in her marriage will subside, and the next year will be her best. But it looks like her best years might be over. It's been 4 days since anyone has heard from her, including Bernard.
She does this. She'll turn up. I wouldn't worry.
The new husband doesn't seem to be too concerned about his strong-willed bride. After all, since they separated, she often spends days at a time with other friends. But Debbie's best friend Lucy just knows something is terribly wrong. She goes to the Ventura County Sheriff's Office.
Hi, I would like to file a missing persons report.
She figured that's the best thing she could do. That's the thing she could do to get the investigation started.
I'm just really concerned about her. I really think something bad happened to her.
Has Debbie's new husband done something to harm her? And if so, where could she possibly be? Lucy prays they can find Debbie before it's too late. Just 6 months after marrying Bernard Brown, 26-year-old Debbie Wood has gone missing. It's been 4 days since anyone has seen the recently separated bride, who has been staying with friends Lucy Owens and Joe Dwyer for the past 2 months. Following up on the missing persons report, deputies head to Joe's apartment because he might have been one of the last people to see the newlywed.
They knocked on the door. There was no answer. There was a light on, but it was the evening time, so they were unsure quite what was going on.
So they left a card for Joe to get, and they hoped he would call them.
Without evidence of a crime, a woman who hasn't returned phone calls isn't a high priority for authorities. The investigation is put on hold. But after just a few months, it's Debbie's marriage that's stalling.
Not like that. How many times do I have to tell you?
She loves Bernard, but all too often when they're behind closed doors, the conflicted newlyweds find themselves arguing.
You don't get to make decisions like that. Not by yourself. That has to include me. Where are you going?
I'm taking Clarissa and we're going to Lucy's tonight. I don't feel like seeing you.
With each passing day, the once optimistic bride is becoming a little less hopeful. Her Prince Charming turns out to be inflexible and possessive.
I can't see she was happy with marriage. Yeah, I'm not saying she was happy. She was enduring marriage.
Through it all, Debbie tries to be a strong role model for her daughter. Finishing school and starting a new career is a top priority.
I remember she would take me with her to school, and I'd pack up my little things and go with her, and I'd act like I was in college. When she was getting her college degree, I thought that she was really smart and that I wanted to be like her and be really smart too.
That will be all for class today.
Debbie was really driven, and she was trying to do it all. She was working hard to finish her bachelor's degree while she was working and raising a small daughter. So she had a very full plate.
In the spring, Debbie starts the application process for her dream job, working as a counselor for neglected and emotionally disturbed young women.
She was excited about that because she was anticipating getting a job for the first time that she loved in life.
A new job also means Debbie will be able to quit working at the club. And Bernard is counting the minutes until she does.
He would sometimes come into the club where she worked to kind of check her out and make sure that she wasn't straying or doing anything that would violate what he thought was the trust they had in each other, but he obviously didn't trust her enough because he was coming around a lot.
Most of his distrust stems from one very dedicated and ever-present club patron.
Bernard was jealous in his relationship with Debbie, and part of that was linked to the amount of time Debbie spent with Joe Dwyer, probably the amount of money that Joe Dwyer spent on Debbie, too.
Debbie insists Joe is just a generous friend. But Bernard refuses to believe it's purely platonic.
This ended up being like a crazy love triangle, with Bernard on one side, Joe on the other, and Debbie in the middle.
At home, tensions continue to rise as Bernard becomes more controlling.
He did control
Where do you think you're going?
when she could leave and how much money she could spend.
I'm going to the club. I have to work tonight.
You're not going to that club again.
There was some yelling, some loud arguments. There was some concerns about, was this going to escalate into a more physical confrontation? Because there was a lot of discord in the marriage at times.
His feelings of jealousy were starting to become behaviors. Remember, Bernard had come out of a nasty divorce. This was the marriage he was going to get right.
By April, Debbie is staying more with Lucy and Joe than she is with Bernard. Without a place of her own, seeing her daughter becomes very difficult.
Debbie indicated to me that she's staying at her friend's house and she's no longer in the home. And I was concerned because if you don't have a stable environment, Clarissa need not be there.
Debbie wants more than anything to create that stability for her daughter. But now, everything she's built has come tumbling down. No one has seen her in 4 days. After filing the missing persons report, her best friend Lucy thinks back to the day before.
Happy birthday, Lucy.
June 12th. Joe dropped by to cheer her up with a birthday gift.
I love this.
As usual, talk soon turned to their missing friend.
Have you heard from Debbie yet?
Joe told Lucy that the last time he saw Debbie, she had told him that she was ready to go back to Bernard. He told her that it was a terrible idea and they had gotten into a big fight over it.
Had Debbie gone back to Bernard and paid the ultimate price? Or does Joe know more than he's letting on? When Lucy spots Debbie's car outside Joe's apartment, she's filled with a glimmer of hope. Perhaps Debbie is back in a safe place.
Lucy took it upon herself. She says, I have a key to Joe's apartment. I'm going to go over and see if she's over there.
She takes a friend with her. Lucy can't wait to see Debbie and tell her family she's been found. But there's no way they could guess the horror that lies waiting behind this door.
Debbie? Debbie, are you home?
After separating from her new husband, Bernard Brown,
Nice to meet you.
former dancer turned youth counselor Debbie Wood is now missing. Her best friend, Lucy Owens, and another friend let themselves into the apartment of Joe Dwyer, where Debbie has been staying for the past 2 months.
Debbie?
They hope to find her safely inside.
Joe?
Nothing seems unusual until they walk into the living room.
There was a strange pile of belongings and boxes in the living room with some blankets. And when they moved part of one of the blankets, they saw Debbie's ankle. They were in shock and disbelief, scared.
Oh my God!
And then they immediately left the apartment and called the sheriff's department.
Moments later, deputies arrive and discover a house of horrors. Underneath the pile is the once vibrant Debbie.
They found that she was dead and that there was a knife impaled into her back.
What had been a missing persons case was now a crime scene.
Several peculiar items surround her body.
We found empty bags that would have contained ice. We found sage that had been burnt. We found a crucifix. Clarissa's picture was also laying on the floor near her head.
Lucy delivers the heartbreaking news to the family.
Emotionally inside of me, I was crushed.
Sweetheart, what are you doing?
Debbie's ex-boyfriend, Anthony Ortega, must tell their now 7-year-old daughter that her mother is
I
gone.
need to talk to you for a few minutes, okay?
He tries to be delicate. She's just too young to understand murder.
I told Clarissa that some people get hurt and don't recover from their injuries, and that happened to your mom and she's in heaven.
When's Mommy coming back?
Mommy's in heaven now.
All I really understood back then was she was gone. I was really sad and angry, and I kind of just wanted her there even more.
It's gonna be okay.
I was really upset.
It seems inconceivable that Debbie's devoted friend Joe could have committed such a violent act. So did Bernard track her down after she ditched their romantic weekend and stab her in the grip of a possessive rage? After all, it's Bernard's toxic jealous streak that drives Debbie out of their home and into Joe's 2 months earlier.
Debbie, what's wrong?
I left Bernard.
Joe was always encouraging her to leave him, to end the marriage, and he was frustrated with her going back and forth.
It's the best decision you ever made. Come here, honey.
Joe relishes being her shoulder to cry on.
He finally got to be the nice, caring friend. I'll give you a place to stay. I'll be fine. I'll take care of you. And then getting in her ear with, don't go back to him. That's not the right place for you and your daughter.
Can I stay with you, Joe?
So Joe finally found his moment to really swoop in and let her know that he cared about her more than just her education.
A month later, with Joe having partially funded her tuition, Debbie graduates from college and is ready for a fresh start.
I can see her smile on her face to this day. I did it, Dad. You know, she was so happy with her degree, and I was proud of her for what she had done. In my spirit, I was just saying, wow, Debbie, you did it, and I'm so happy for you.
Made me proud and made me even want to do that more because my mom did it.
And Debbie is over the moon when she gets the position she applied for, counseling troubled young girls.
I felt worthless and abandoned.
She phoned me, says, Dad, I got a job, and I got my dream job.
What's going on with you?
She seemed uplifted and excited, to venture in this new journey.
Listen, I'm just really happy that you're here today, okay?
Debbie immediately quits the club. While she sorts out her feelings about Bernard, having her supportive, generous friend Joe around is a source of comfort.
He spent a lot of money on her. He bought her many gifts.
You get me.
He's buying love, he's buying attention,
So beautiful.
and he wanted to possess her, and he thought that the way to do that was to pay for it.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Sensing her friend may be wanting more, Debbie makes it clear she has no interest in a romantic relationship with him.
Would you like to put it on?
Yeah, thanks.
She's still hoping to work things out with her new husband.
Despite what had happened in the past, Debbie was still struggling whether or not to go back with Bernard. She really wanted to make it work.
Hey, what's going on?
2 weeks before her disappearance, Joe drives Debbie over to Anthony's house to see her daughter.
We need to go inside. Okay.
She asks to have a few extra days with her little girl the weekend of June 10th.
Who's that guy right there?
But there's a problem.
That's just my friend Joe. I moved out of Bernard's.
She got me up to speed and kind of what was happening, that she wasn't at Bernard's house any longer, and she's staying with Joe temporarily. So I told her, until you get on a lease, or let me do a background check on the person who just drove you here. I wasn't comfortable with letting Clarissa go there.
The answer's no.
It's difficult, but Anthony stays firm in his decision to keep Clarissa with him.
I didn't know Joe very well enough to have my daughter under the same roof, like for overnights.
It must have been very difficult for Debbie to be told, no, you cannot take your daughter. While it was a very responsible parental decision of the father, I'm sure Debbie was devastated.
Mommy loves you, okay?
Debbie kisses her little Clarissa goodbye and drives off with Joe.
Bye, Mommy.
It's the last kiss Clarissa will ever get from her mother. Debbie disappears 2 weeks later, the weekend she wanted to have Clarissa. And only 4 days after, her body is found in Joe's apartment. Just when she's on the verge of achieving the new life she's worked so hard for. Lucy tells investigators about her last conversation with Joe. She realizes he made statements that now seem haunting.
He made a comment about how you could live a great life or something like that, and then you make one bad decision and snap, and it changes everything in a split second, but it doesn't make you a bad person.
Had Joe been referring to killing Debbie? Or was he talking about Bernard? Detectives need to track Joe down immediately and find out what he knows and what he's hiding. Ventura County authorities search for Joe Dwyer, a friend of Debbie Wood, whose corpse was found in his home.
After examining the body with our medical examiner, it was obvious that Debbie had been deceased for several days.
So Joe must have known she was there and kept it his dirty little secret. And now he's a lot closer than investigators realize.
Joe was driving around and saw the cop cars in front of his house. In a panic, he had called Lucy.
He tells her he's driving around the neighborhood, terrified. She tells investigators where he is.
Cameron Police Department, put your hands out the window.
And deputies find him only blocks from the scene. They take him into custody.
Mr. Dwyer. Yes. You're under arrest for the murder of Debbie Wood.
Joe admits he was in his apartment with Debbie when she died, but adamantly claims it wasn't his fault. He says they were arguing about her love for Bernard, and Debbie started getting violent. He grabbed a knife.
According to Joe, he was trying to protect himself, and he thought that if he stuck the knife in her back a little bit, it would shake her out of her anger, and she would calm down. As she fell to the ground, the knife hit the ground and then was pushed all the way into her body.
It was a terrible, terrible accident.
Poking her with a knife to get her to calm down? It's a ridiculous story. Authorities charge him with killing Debbie. No one can believe it was Joe who did it.
Imagine the shock and horror to think that the killer of your daughter, the killer of your friend, was someone they all knew very well, someone in their circle, someone who'd been a friend and supporter for many years.
It turns out that Bernard Brown, Debbie's husband who seems so unconcerned about her disappearance, is completely innocent. At the trial, Joe sticks with his bizarre self-defense story. Prosecutors set out to prove otherwise and tell the jury about Joe's toxic obsession with Debbie. He slowly became infatuated with her over the years, showing up at the club night after night, wanting only Debbie to dance for him. He spent his life savings on her, showering her with gifts and helping to pay for her college tuition.
Joe wanted her to still be dependent on him, because Joe at this point was becoming clearly obsessed with Debbie.
Although Debbie said she only wanted to be friends, he always held out a secret hope she'd come around.
Intellectually, he knew this was never going to go anywhere, but he didn't care. He ignored all the signs. And he just continued to obsess and spend more and more money.
When he heard Debbie had eloped with Bernard Brown, he was overcome with envy.
All of a sudden, he's got competition. Not just competition, she closed the deal with this other guy. I'm sure it enraged Joe.
When Debbie and Bernard separated, Joe's fantasies of finally having her all to himself surged.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, baby, how you doing?
But on June 9th, when she told him she wanted to go back to Bernard, prosecutors believe Joe flew into a jealous rage.
To Bernard? Come on, give me a break. You guys are terrible for each other. All you do is fight.
It is what it is,
No,
Joe.
it's not what it is.
He picked up a large kitchen knife.
Calm down, just...
I'm really calm, and you're not going anywhere.
That started a loud argument, which resulted in physical confrontation. He's holding the knife to her, not intending to plunge it in. But when she said something that really angered him,
I love Bernard, and I'm gonna make this work.
then he did it.
No, you're not.
That's when it snapped. That's when Joe couldn't take it anymore. He'd lost her once. He was not going to lose her again to Bernard.
Bernard does not love you like I love you.
I'm sorry, John.
He stabbed the woman he claimed to love most in the back. Instead of calling 911, Joe put Debbie in the living room and placed ice around her body in a misguided attempt to slow decomposition, and burned incense to mask the smell. Next to her head, he placed a crucifix and Clarissa's photo. Then he acted as if nothing happened.
He was not about to let her go even in death. He kept her body as long as he possibly could. He would have kept it longer had it not been discovered.
Joe is found guilty of voluntary manslaughter and given the maximum sentence, 12 years in jail.
What Joe's obsession ended up doing was it cost Debbie the chance to really make something positive for her life and for her daughter, and I think she was heading in that direction.
Now that she's older, Anthony has told Clarissa that her mother was murdered.
It was a shock. I was surprised that it was someone that was so close to her. I think I was really angry.
I think the hardest thing for me in this whole tragedy is having to watch my daughter not have someone she desperately wants in her life.
After Debbie's death, family and friends hold a memorial.
I let go balloons and let go a letter to her. I'm just trying to kind of live past it and remember all the good times we've had together and just do things that would make her proud.